Hello, friend. I'm Hope, and I'm really glad you're here today. Welcome to English with Hope, a calm space for your mind and your heart. In this channel, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to rush. Here, we learn English slowly. We listen to English gently. No pressure, no stress. And here, you are not alone. Wherever you are in the world, I'm right here with you. So relax your shoulders, take a slow breath, and let's begin. Most of us are waiting for someone to make us feel safe. Maybe it's a partner, or a parent, or a friend who always seems to answer the phone. We wait, often without even noticing that we are waiting at all. And when that person is busy, or tired, or simply somewhere else, for a while, something inside us quietly starts to shake. This is not weakness, even though it can feel that way in the moment. It is something almost every human being has felt at some point in their life. Many of us were taught early on that safety comes from outside of us, from someone else's arms, someone else's voice, someone else's steady presence nearby. But there is another way to live, one that doesn't depend so heavily on that arrival. A way where you are not only searching for shelter somewhere out there, a way where you slowly begin to become the shelter yourself. Today, we are going to talk about what it truly means to become your own safest harbor. By the end of this episode, something in you may feel a little different. Not because your life will have changed, but because the way you meet your own life will have shifted, even slightly. You will have a new way of understanding why you feel unsteady when someone pulls away, and a gentler way of responding to that feeling instead of fighting it. This episode will give you a wider view of what safety actually is. Not a wall, not a person who never leaves, something quieter and something you can carry with you. So take a breath. Let your shoulders drop just a little, and let's walk through this together, one thought at a time. I want to tell you about the year I studied abroad, far from everything and everyone I knew. I remember landing in that new country and feeling scared of almost everything at once. The signs I couldn't read, the language moving too fast for me to follow. Even small things, like ordering food or asking for directions, felt like tasks I wasn't sure I could manage. For the first few weeks, I wished more than anything that I could go back to my family, back to a place where everything simply made sense without effort. I called home often, and each time I hung up the phone, I felt a small wave of sadness, knowing I still had to face the day alone. But slowly, almost without noticing it, something began to shift. I started learning a few words at a time, then a few sentences, then enough to hold a real conversation with the woman who sold bread near my apartment. I began to recognize streets I once found confusing, and they slowly turned into paths I could walk without thinking twice. I remember the day I ordered my coffee entirely in the new language without switching back to English even once, and the small satisfaction that followed. It wasn't a grand achievement to anyone else. But to me, it meant I was building something important, one small success at a time. I was learning that I didn't need my family beside me to feel capable or safe or at home in a new place. I was learning to be that steady presence for myself in a country that had once felt entirely unfamiliar. By the time I returned home, I carried something with me that no plane ticket could take away. I had learned how to be my own safe harbor long before I ever knew that phrase. Where did you learn that safety has to come from someone else? Think about it for a moment. Maybe it was in childhood, when a parent's calm voice was the only thing that could settle a storm inside you. Maybe it was in a friendship, where one person always seemed to know exactly what to say. Whatever the source, most of us learned early that safety lives somewhere outside of us, in someone else's hands. This is such a common human pattern that it barely feels like a pattern at all. It feels like simply the way things are. But here is something worth considering. What if that early lesson was only ever half of the story? Yes, other people can offer comfort. Yes, connection matters deeply. But the version of safety you learned as a child was shaped by a child's limited world, where you truly could not care for yourself yet. You're not that same person anymore. Somewhere along the way, you grew hands that can hold a cup of tea. You grew a voice that can speak kindly to yourself. You grew a mind that can notice a hard feeling and meet it, instead of only waiting for someone else to meet it for you. This does not erase the value of other people in your life. It simply means the old lesson does not have to be the only lesson. You are allowed to learn a new one now, one that includes both connection with others and a quiet steadiness within yourself. That is not a loss of anything you once had. It is simply an expansion of what safety can mean. You don't need permission to feel calm, not from a text message, not from someone finally understanding you, not from circumstances lining up perfectly. So often, we treat calm like a reward that has to be earned or given to us by something outside our control. We wait for the right conditions, the right apology, the right outcome, before we let ourselves settle. And in the meantime, we stay tense, holding our breath for a permission slip that may never arrive. But calm is not a prize you win. It is something closer to a room inside you that has always existed, even if the door has been closed for a long time. You can open that door yourself at any moment in small ways. A slower breath, a few seconds of simply noticing where you are instead of where you wish you were. The philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote that very little is needed to make a happy life, because it is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. This is not about pretending hard things aren't hard. It is about remembering that your peace does not have to wait in line behind everyone else's choices. You can offer yourself a small piece of calm right now, in this very moment, simply by choosing to. And each time you do, that door opens a little easier the next time. Slowly, calm stops feeling like something rare that visits you. It starts feeling like something that already lives inside you, waiting patiently to be let out. Being steady on your own is not the same as being alone. This is a fear that quietly follows many of us. The worry that if we learn to comfort ourselves, we will somehow need other people less, or love them less, or drift into some cold, self-sufficient distance. But think of the calmest, most grounded people you have ever met. Were they distant? Or were they, in some quiet way, more present with others, not less? When you are not desperately needing someone else to hold your entire sense of safety, something interesting happens. You stop clinging so tightly. You stop reading every silence as abandonment. You start showing up in your relationships from a place of wanting connection rather than needing it to survive. This is a softer, freer way to love people. Becoming your own safe harbor does not mean the ships stop coming. It simply means you are no longer desperate for them to arrive. You can welcome someone into your life with open hands instead of gripping hands. You can let people be imperfect, or busy, or human, without your entire inner world shaking as a result. This is not distance. This is a quieter, steadier kind of closeness, one that has room to breathe. And in that room, real connection often grows even deeper than before. Have you noticed how much energy goes into waiting for someone to save the day? Checking your phone, replaying a conversation, searching for hidden meaning, holding your breath until someone else's mood or message or presence tells you it's safe to relax. It is exhausting in a way that is easy to overlook because it has become so familiar. So much of our life force can quietly disappear into this waiting without us ever noticing where it went. But here is a gentler way to see this. That energy was never lost. It was simply waiting for a new direction. Imagine, for a moment, redirecting even a small portion of that energy inward. Instead of watching for someone else's next move, you begin gently checking in with your own. What do I need right now? What would feel kind to offer myself in this moment? This shift does not happen all at once, and it does not need to. Each time you notice yourself waiting, you can gently bring your attention back home to your own breath, your own hands, your own next small step. Over time, this becomes less of an effort and more of a habit, quiet and steady. You begin to feel less like someone standing at a window, watching for headlights, and more like someone who has already turned on the lights inside their own home. That shift alone can change the entire feeling of your days, not because the outside world becomes more certain, but because you become less dependent on its certainty. A harbor doesn't chase the ships. It simply stays. There is something deeply freeing in that image once you let it settle. A harbor doesn't run after every boat that drifts by, hoping to be chosen. It doesn't shrink or panic when a ship sails elsewhere. For a while, it remains open, steady, and calm, exactly where it is. And because of that steadiness, the ships that do arrive can truly rest there. This is a beautiful way to think about who you are becoming. You do not need to chase connection, approval, or reassurance in order to matter. Your steadiness is not passive. It is one of the most powerful things you can offer, both to yourself and to the people who enter your life. When you are your own safe harbor, you stop measuring your worth by how many ships arrive or how long they stay. You simply keep being open, keep being steady, keep tending to your own waters with care. And in that quiet consistency, something remarkable happens. You begin to trust yourself in a way that no outside promise could ever fully provide. You are not waiting to become safe. You are already becoming it, quietly, one calm choice at a time. And that steadiness will stay with you far longer than any single arrival ever could. Understanding this idea is one thing. Living it, gently, day by day, is another. So let's talk about 3 small habits that can help you practice becoming your own safe harbor. The first is a simple daily check-in. Once a day, perhaps in the morning or right before bed, pause for just 1 minute. Ask yourself quietly, what do I need right now? Not what you should need, not what would look good to need. Just an honest, simple question, offered to yourself the way you might offer it to a close friend. Some days the answer will be rest. Other days it might be water, or fresh air, or a few minutes of silence. This small habit slowly teaches you that your own needs are worth noticing. The second is choosing your own version of tea by the window. Think of one small, soothing gesture that feels like comfort to you. It could be a warm drink, a few minutes in sunlight, or simply placing a hand over your heart and breathing slowly. Whatever it is, let it become yours. Repeat it often, especially in moments when you feel unsteady. Over time, your body begins to trust that comfort can come from your own hands. The final habit is an evening reflection. Before you fall asleep, think back over your day and find one small moment when you were your own safe place. A moment you calmed yourself, comforted yourself, or simply chose kindness toward yourself. It does not need to be dramatic. It can be as small as a deep breath before a hard conversation. Naming this moment, even silently, slowly builds the quiet evidence that you can hold yourself. And with enough evidence, gathered gently, over time, you begin to believe it completely. Today, we talked about a very human habit, one that so many of us share without ever naming it. The habit of waiting for safety to arrive from somewhere outside of us. A phone call we hope will come. A person we hope will understand. A perfect set of circumstances we hope will finally line up. And we explored a gentler, wider way of seeing all of this. Safety is not only something you find out there in the world, It is also something you can slowly become within yourself through small check-ins, small comforts, and small moments of noticing your own steadiness. You begin to build a quiet inner harbor, one that does not chase, does not grip, and does not shake every time the world shifts around it. This does not mean you stop needing others or stop welcoming connection into your life. It simply means you stop waiting at the window with your whole heart on hold. You start turning the lights on inside your own home so that whoever arrives finds you already warm, already steady, already whole. Growth like this rarely happens in a single, dramatic moment. It happens slowly, in ordinary instances, the way water gently shapes stone over many years. So be patient with yourself as this unfolds. You are not behind in some invisible race. You are simply learning, one calm breath at a time, how to become your own safest harbor. If this lesson brought you value, comfort, or a new perspective, I would sincerely appreciate your support through a like and subscription. Every gesture of support helps keep this channel alive and allows these lessons to reach more people around the world. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your time, your presence, and for being part of this community. Goodbye for now, friend.